So in Excel, we're going to click on that and bring up a blank workbook. And just as a real quick review of kindergarten through 3rd grade, each rectangle is called a cell. Each cell has a name. Who can tell me the name of this cell right here? Yes.
C4.
C4. We know that because the C is highlighted, the 4 is highlighted, or you can also look up in this area. It will tell you C4 is our cell that we're clicked on. A couple other quick things with this. We can make our cells bigger or smaller. Right now, if you look at my mouse, it's a white plus sign. If I move my mouse between two letters or put it between two numbers, I can click and drag and make those cells bigger or smaller for the entire column. We have also learned that we can highlight a group of cells by highlighting them, going into the color and choosing a color that we want. If we want to get rid of a color, highlight the section, and no fill is our erase button. We've learned in the past that these lines on here are just grid lines, meaning that they show up right now, but if I was to go up to File and go to Print and look at the preview, those grid lines are not going to show up to start with. They are just there for you as you are working. Also, if I hit Cancel, once I go to File Print, I additionally have some blue dotted lines. Those blue dotted lines tell me where my page breaks are. So looking up at my screen right now, how many pages do I actually have showing on my screen? How many pages do I have actually showing on my screen? Yes? Good, I have 6. I have 1 here, 2, 3, and coming down here, 4, 5, 6. Those are extremely important because if you're creating a project, you don't want your project on 2 or 3 pages and have it cut in half. Okay, so it's important you know where your page breaks occur. If I want my grid lines to show up, the way I do that is I highlight the cells that I would like the grid lines to show up on, go to Format, Cells. I can then come over to Border. When you guys first come up, it's always going to be on Number, and you'll need to click over on Border. And you can choose the type of border you want. You could choose where you want them. Probably the easiest thing though is to click on the outline and click on the inside. That will put a border around them. I can hit OK. You can see that changes the way it looks. And now if I go into File and Print, you can see that it shows those grid lines for that specific area. Any questions on that K through 3 review? Let's get into our 4th grade review and let's get into our project for today. So I'm going to go ahead and just clear these. So I'm back to my beginning. Last year we learned that Excel can also do math for us. It's one of the most important features of Excel. And this is something that if you get good at, you'll use it a lot. You'll use it a lot. So if I come in to cell A1 and I type in the word addend, and I type in the word addend to B1, and I type in the word sum into C1, who can tell me what those terms mean as far as math goes? Yes?
The addends are the two numbers that you add together to get the answer, which is called a sum.
Go ahead. So the addends, numbers you're adding together, The sum is your answer to an addition problem. So if I put in the numbers, let's say 3 and 5, we would expect my sum answer to be 8. And for a problem like this, just putting in the number 8 is not a problem. Okay, that probably took me 1/10 of a second. And so if you had something like that, you might want to consider just putting in the number. But what happens if you didn't have the number 3 and 5, and instead you had the number 3,675 and 500,304, and you had to add those? Well, that would be a little bit more challenging just to put the answer in. So we want to have a way to do that. The other piece is that if you do this correctly, if you ever need to change this, let's say instead of 5, I want to put in the number 55. Well, by putting that in, did that change this number at all? No. And so if you use Excel, you use the function button, the nice thing is it automatically changes that for you. So let's go through how exactly do we do this math using the computer. So the first thing I want to do is click where I want my answer to go. If I click here and cell F13, my answer is going to go in F13. If I click up here in B3, my answer is going to go in B3. Just as a little tidbit, if I click right here, my computer is going to give me an error message. Why would my computer give me an error message if I was to click right there? Yes. There's already something in the cell, and the computer's going to say, hey, I can't put an answer where you already have a number. So it's going to give you an error message. So, very first important step, click where you want your answer to go. Then, we're going to hit this button right here. This is the f of x button, or the function button. Function button is a technical term for I'm going to do some math. You start seeing f of x in pre-calc and calculus classes. Right now, when you get to pre-calc and calc, they're going to say, I'm going to do some math, and we're going to do derivatives and logarithms and stuff like that. But for right now, it's okay to say, I'm going to do some math, and that math is going to be adding, addition. Okay? It's okay to do it real simple, too. Okay? So I'm going to click the function button. The computer is going to say, what kind of math do you want to do? Now, I've used this computer already a couple times this year to do function button and math. So my stuff comes up here. Yours may not. If you do not see what you need, you can search for it right here in the search bar. So you can type in sum or any of the other math functions that you want to do. Okay, but mine happens to come right here. And this is a double click. It is not a single click. It is a double click. So I'm going to double click on it. And it's now asking, what do you want to add? Well, I want to add these two numbers right here. So I'm simply going to drag my mouse across those two numbers. Notice when I do that, I now have dotted lines that are moving around those numbers. And it's saying, are you sure this is what you in fact want to add? Is that what I wanted to add?
No.
Yeah. Yep, those two numbers. So all I need to do is hit the return button, and it will add them for me. Now the nice thing is, like I said, let's say I want to go back to 5, not 55. If I touch in here, just type 5, it will automatically change that answer, because when I'm setting this up, I'm telling my computer, actually, I want to add whatever is in cell A2 to whatever is in cell B2. Whatever those numbers are, that's what I'm setting up. So I can change those numbers and the computer will change the data. Okay. Let's do another one. Here are my numbers. Click where I want my answer. Hold on just a second. Double click on sum. Highlight my two numbers. Now when I highlight, if I accidentally click over here and you say, uh-oh, I can't get out of this. Well, that's because you're telling your computer, I want to add all those cells. I don't want to add all those cells. So if you do that, the only way to get out of it is to come up here and delete up here. You need to highlight it and delete up there to get rid of it. So if that happens to you, which it usually happens at least a couple times every class, if you're the one person that that's happening to, that's how you fix it. Okay, let's try it again. Sum, highlight, go across, and hit return. How come I got an error message? Because this is the other very common mistake that people make. Yes?
You highlighted the answer box.
I highlighted the answer box. And again, your computer is saying, hey, I can't add this cell and put the answer in the same box. Okay, so if you do that and you hit OK, you're going to get a 0. Because your computer is saying this is a mistake, this is an error. Okay, so you don't want to do that. So I'm going to get rid of that. One more time. Double click. Highlight my 2 and hit return. Let's do another one. Factor, factor, product. Who could tell me what those terms mean? Ben.
The two factors are the things you're going to multiply, and the product is the answer you get for the multiplication.
Excellent. So these are the numbers you are multiplying. Product is your answer. Same process. Let's go through it. Click where you want your answer. Double click on product. Highlight the 2 numbers I'm multiplying, or 3 numbers, or 8 numbers. For us, it's just 2. And hit return. One more example. Dana. Average. Okay. What is average? What does that mean? What does that term mean? Average.
The average number in between those two.
But it's the number that's in between those. So the way you figure out an average is you're going to add the numbers together and divide by the number of data points you have. So if I was to do this, I'd do 54 plus 77. How many data points do I have in there? 2. So I divide by 2. If I had, let's say, these numbers, and I said find the average, I would add 436 plus 54 plus 3,476 plus 697. I'd add that all up and I would divide by 4. Very good. Okay, so that's a little bit harder math process. It's 2 steps. Well, the computer can make that a lot easier. It will do it for you. Click where you want the answer. Double click on average. Highlight the 2 cells, or 3 cells, however many you have. We have 2. And hit return. Is it okay that I got a decimal there?
Yep.
Yeah, because I had an odd number. And when you divide by 2, it's an odd number. You end up with a decimal. Okay. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to make your charts. And when you're done with your charts, you're going to highlight the cells that you used. Only the cells that you used. Don't do all of them. Just the cells that you used. Go up to Format, go to Cells, put a border around them. You don't need to color them, just put a border around them. And then you will turn it in. Now your numbers, the chart that I want you to recreate is already sitting in Google Classroom for you. You will go into Google Classroom, you can pull it up. You'll need to recreate it on Excel because I want you to get used to typing into the cells and doing the different pieces, putting the border on. You will have 15 math problems total, so you'll have 5 addition, 5 multiplication, and 5 average ones. Nope, they're sitting there for you. The numbers are sitting there. And this is due then Tuesday morning at 7:30. Questions on how to use the function button to do any of those 3 types of math problems. I'm going to stop our video.